Hey guys, welcome to our review of Tokyo Ghoul Re, Episode 7. I'm your host, Cinder Blaze. With me today we have...
Makotoa.
Alright, let's jump into this episode, and for me, this was kind of like the nail in the coffin for how much I can really comprehend from this series. It's been a while since I've watched Season 2, and I think I might have to revisit that whole series, even though there's such a huge time gap in between the two shows that I feel like just rewatching that series won't help me understand a lot of the characters that they kind of like reintroduced and kind of like add into
Yeah.
the mix that we're supposed to actually care about now.
It's it's confusing even for me, and I just came off of season two. Like I just finished season two before I started watching this one and binging through the first few episodes, and I think it's not even like I think this would just be confusing for anyone because there's just so many new characters that they decided to introduce, whose names I'm not even going to bother remembering. I'm not even going to try. Not even for those. And then some like older characters were coming back up talking about, and it's like, wait, is that one dude who with the armor who was like fighting ghouls in season two? I can't remember, not the one that's in the hospital. I can at least remember that one, but the other one,
The bulky
like,
dude.
yeah, the bulky dude. It's like, oh, you're the other bulky dude, the only other one who could be walking right now, right? So that means you're him, or are you just some other character we've just been introduced to? Because at this rate, I can't keep up.
Yeah, and it's not just that. Like, I understand, like, those characters still exist in this universe, but to kind of like bring up like they did that for a lot of the uh, investigators and probably some of the teachers for the
Yeah.
CCG or whatever they're called. They would like pop them up and like show their name, and I'm just like, wait, no, I barely know the characters we already have. Like, we didn't get a single like, or not a single, but we didn't get enough time with our core team. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we kind of just got thrown into like a giant, not arc, but battle, and for like that fight in particular, we were bouncing between fodder. We visited Juzo again, and thank God he's in this season because he's a character that I can actually still follow and understand.
Mm-hmm.
Because even for our main character, Heisei, he's no longer the Kaneki Ken that we kind of knew from season 1 and 2 of Tokyo Ghoul.
Nope.
So like, I want something to kind of ground this series a little bit. Like, I understand like for Tokyo Ghoul Re, it's a lot more different than the original. Like, we're not following any like particular character. I mean, that was season 1 more so than season 2, where even in that series it was kind of scattered all over the place, but we kind of knew like where it was heading because we had some sort of understanding of each of the characters and their role in relation to the other people. For this one, it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, well, we're not allowed to know everyone's relationship to everyone else because that's supposed to be a mystery that we're gonna find out later on in the series. So for the time being, it's like, oh, look at these ghouls. They're all mysterious and they're gonna do stuff. And I'm like, wait, I don't care. Like, why? Like, there's no solid plot happening. Like, in this episode especially, they're just sitting around doing nothing. Just
Yeah,
like,
I expected, like, oh my gosh, 2 episodes ago, we had that tease that Kaneki was going to finally be back. And they were like, all right, okay. So it's not like they're going to stall out this whole next episode 6, I'm referring to, which was the previous episode. It's not like they're going to stall this whole episode out before they actually finally have Kaneki, come out. And then they did, and they stalled till the very end of the episode to finally have him come out. And then we waited all to this episode to be like, all right, we're finally going to see him out. We did not see him out. We didn't see anything. Like, the closest thing we saw to the resolution of that battle was a flashback of him. Not even Kaneki, I don't think. I don't even think Kaneki ever came out because when we go into a shot where, whatever our protagonist's name is, I can't.
Heise.
The not Heisei. When Heisei was like in the bathroom or something, looking at a mirror, the small child Kaneki with white hair was like, "All right, but next time you need to disappear," or something like that. It's like, so what did Kaneki even actually manifest physically?
I don't think
We
so.
don't even know. Yeah, I don't think so because we didn't really see it. It did nothing really changed in that fight, and then we were back to the Heisei dude, and he's like, "Can I have custody of this child?" Like, okay. And speaking of that plot point, where did that go? The whole episode. We touched on it briefly for like 1 second, where Kaneki's or not Kaneki, but Heisei's just like, "Man, that's probably going to complicate things since I asked for that favor." Yeah, who cares? Because you're just partying like a normal human being. Everyone treats you like a normal human being. Do they even know you're a ghoul? Like even the freaking blonde, she seemed to have a grudge against like ghouls for all of season 2. She hated them, hated their guts and everything. And then suddenly now we're just like, yeah, Kaneki, she knows. She knows he's a ghoul. So how are they like talking like they're normal human beings, like, I wish for the best for you. Yes, I'm glad you got promoted. You're gonna be a great, general. It's like, do you not?
Well, I
Is
think
what?
Kaneki Ken is the ghoul inside of him, and Heisei is more of like this human persona who's kind of completely different from
I hate it.
Kaneki, and like the way he treats him,
Uh,
especially like his internal monologues when he kind of sees that kind of like inner Ken Kaneki, he kind of treats him as like Naruto would kind of treat the QB in some sort
yeah.
of ways, except it's it's a bit weirder, I guess. Also, one thing that you kind of like brought up was like him partying and stuff like that. When he was kind of cooking and all that other jazz, I was getting kind of confused because one of the
Yeah.
biggest conflicts from season one was the fact that he could not uh, eat normal human food. It tasted like shit to him. We didn't see him eat this episode, so it might
We haven't
still
seen him
hold.
actually like eat anything. I don't think, but he's always around food or always cooking food for the others.
Yeah, and I don't know how he can actually cook without
Yeah.
throwing up and vomiting. I mean, he probably got
How are
used
they
to it, but
teasing? Yeah, it's like did they think we forgot? Like, are they just trying to tease it to see if we'll like we're leave us in suspense for this? This is annoying to me
yeah,
personally. Like, we don't know what experiments were done on Kaneki to have him suddenly have this split personality, this second persona, and then suddenly now he's can he do can he eat human food now too? Is that it? Like we don't even know. And they nobody seems to comment on it that he's just making the food and never eating. Everyone's just totally fine like he's their waiter or something. I don't know.
yeah. Like, there's no real like agency to any of them, and for one of his team members, the blonde dude with like the shark teeth and stuff. Apparently, he has a younger sibling. Can't tell if it's a boy or girl. I don't think it's really relevant. But like, they're in the hospital and they have like this weird ass thing coming out of their face,
Yeah.
and it's one of those like, it's super tropey. And the only way like the sick sibling trope doesn't get really annoying is if it's tied to some sort of plot. Because if it's just that, it's something that I've seen so many times before, and I have no reason to care for this particular one because it has no in-series consequences. So,
Yeah.
like, I'm glad that they're like attempting to make these characters sort of deep in their own little ways. That one I felt was really that felt really flat. Like they have to make that relevant, or else they just wasted my time again. So
This whole episode felt like a waste of time.
yeah, to an extent. We got to see everyone get their promotions too. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I wish we knew what those promotions actually meant, because like what's the point of just raising their titles if they just do the same things as usual? That's also another thing that I feel is just it took like not too much time, but it took enough time where it's just like, okay, apparently like this is an accomplishment of some sort, but will this allow them to do other things that they weren't able to before, or is it just I don't know.
Also, they're teasing like whether or not stinking. I guess by the end of this, I'm pretty confident that Toka and the group don't know that it's Kaneki under that half white, half haired, persona going on, because he decides to go visit their shop for like 20 seconds.
Oh
And we
yeah.
just got to say hi to them. Not really. And then, they tease some other things like, so how are the clowns? Oh, ambiguous things that I will probably disclose later that you'll forget now and then be confused about. It's like they did that a lot, where it's like they're talking about these outside things. You even got these, two random fodder-looking chicks signing up to be part of the investigative squad for that one dude, who one of the people in charge in the CC whatever. And it's just like, who are you? Why should we care? They're just in like they introduced a bunch of names at one point at the begin when they were doing the award ceremony too. It's like, oh great, more characters.
Yeah, we don't have enough time to actually give each of those characters like meaningful development. Like even like since I do have like this not battle manga kind of structure to them, but there are a lot of fights in this series, and that's one of the main ways that people get like meaningful development, like because their lives are at risk and all that other jazz.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have enough time to actually spend with all those characters and put their lives at risk and do all that other stuff, because I actually want to care about like our core characters. I've said this already, but I just felt like there has to be a point where you have to stop for this sort of stuff, and I feel like Bleach actually handled their excess of characters a lot better.
I was thinking of Bleach too,
because at least like when they introduce a character, they like give you a character trait and a quirk, either with their image or with some really strong and stupid quirk right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever we get back to that character, we kind of know what to expect and stuff. But for a lot of these, for a lot of the female characters especially, I just feel like they're all one and the same. I mean, it applies the same for like the male characters, especially for like the ghouls, like underneath the masks. I can't tell who they are half the time. The only one, thankfully, we kind of recognized was that one chick who was like hanging out with Toka and them, like back in season 1 and 2.
The little girl.
Yeah. So
I remember at first you didn't recognize her. I had to tell you it was her.
Like honestly, I was trying to tell like which one was her, because I knew she was one of the ghouls. It's just like it's the question of like which one is which, and I feel like we're kind of like rambling at this point. So, do you have any final thoughts for this episode?
We had this really awkward moment between Heisei and Kishio Arima, the white,
Arima, yeah,
the overpowered white-haired dude. That's like top of the probably power scale level right now on the police side. They had a moment because, oh yeah, you gotta gift him a hair clip with a horse on it.
Yeah, that was weird.
Okay.
And honestly, having one of those characters just kind of like have screen time and just just to be there feels really weird. I really hate when we have super overpowered characters in any sort of like series, because a lot of it has to like what the show has to do is kind of push them aside whenever some like action happens, or else they're just going to take over and it'll solve the problem instantly. So I'm just kind of like wondering why we're getting so much of this guy in this series, because
and why did he go along with Heisei's request to take her into his custody, that the little ghoul girl? Like, why did he, we don't know any of this. There's not even a hint. We don't even get a hint at like how things turned out for Kaneki after he turned himself in at the end of season 2. We don't even get a hint of like what the status quo is, why this dude would even bother to give him that kind of like luxury, that kind of favor. There's only one character that I can recall on the like police side of things that seems to like treat Kaneki or Heisei like I expected humans who hate ghouls to treat him. And I feel like not enough characters are doing that. It's taking away from the realism of this. Unless there's something we're missing that we just don't know about, where everyone, suddenly acknowledged him as the Hokage, and he's suddenly cool with everybody, even though he was murdering people, or I guess, wishy-washy, but he's still like a ghoul, and all of their friends are getting killed by ghouls. Why isn't there more disdain towards Heisei? It feels
I don't think anyone.
unnatural.
No, like I feel like a lot of the lackeys don't even know. That's something that's only for the high class individuals of CCG.
That's up in the air because we saw him carrying uh, his friend's dead body right into the heart of their operation at the end of season 2. Everyone saw him turn himself in. It's did they just suddenly not know what happened to him by then? It's like that feels like it's pushing it a little bit. So I don't know. I'm confused. It's just because we have no information on this stuff, and it's
Yeah, like the Heisei, like the Kaneki to Heisei conversion thing. I feel like that's something that they can probably put off for a little bit later, because like Tokyo Ghoul Re isn't Tokyo Ghoul. I feel like there's a reason why it's called that in the first place. It's its own kind of story. So we just kind of like have to take it for what it is. And honestly, if like I feel like if the show picked up its pace a little bit more, then it would just be a lot more enjoyable.
mm-hmm.
And probably slow down in like the appropriate like parts, because like the fight scenes took a little bit too long, and they weren't animated like amazingly, so it's not like I really wanted to see the fight scenes.
Yeah.
But I think I'm just rambling at this point. I don't really have any good points to make, so we're just gonna end it here. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that other jazz. Check our description for all of our social media links. Check our Discord chat and talk to us about Tokyo Ghoul, because I really want help following the series, because I really like the series and the kind of world that they have built. I just want to enjoy it more. So we'll catch you next time. Keep it juicy.
See ya.
And outro. Man, this episode like destroyed my brain.
This episode killed it for me.
Maybe I should pick up Sword Art again.
Yeah. Seriously. I mean, they just did a recap episode. You saw that, right?
For Sword Art?
Yeah.
That's
5.5